You are standing on the coast and see the sky darkening. People pack up and leave the beach. It gets colder and colder and the wind picks up. The yachts and fishermen head back to the harbor. It starts to rain and thunder. You are also back at the hotel when gusts of wind whip the rain against the window. You can see the high waves now reaching the coast. And just as everyone is trying to stay dry indoors, a ship sails out to the sea, again into the storm and against the waves. Heading out when others seek shelter. Rausfahren, wenn andere reinkommen. Today we take a look at the DGzRS, the Deutsche Gesellschaft zur Rettung Schiffbrüchiger, the German Maritime Search and Rescue Service. While the fire department, the water rescue service and the DLRG ensure safety inland and on the coast, it is Seenotretter, in-sea rescuers, as the people of the DGzRS are also known, who rescue people in distress on the open sea. As described at the beginning, they have been doing this for over 160 years. The Association for the Rescue of Shipwrecked People in East Frisia was founded in Emden in 1861. Before that, it was sometimes spontaneous help from local citizens, pilots or fishermen who knew the area very well. However, ships regularly ran aground on the sandbanks in the Wadden Sea of the North Sea. In the humanist era, such accidents were no longer seen as God-given or unavoidable, but rather more and more attention was paid to protecting the people's lives. As early as 1837, the Kingdom of Hanover had decided that 2 lifeboats should be produced, but only one was financed on Norderney. In 1854, the bark Johanne sank on its maiden voyage with 300 emigrants on board in a heavy storm off the island of Spiekeroog. 77 men, women, children and babies died. The islanders were unable to help, partially because of the storm, but also because no suitable boats were available. The newspapers reported on it and there were calls for a sea rescue. However, nothing happened. In 1860, the brig Alliance sank on its return voyage from Newcastle upon Tyne. She ran aground off Borkum in a storm. Again, the islanders were unable to help. Another uproar went through the press as nothing had happened for 6 years. It is significant that cemeteries of the homeless, Drinkedodenkarhof, literally churchyards of the drowned, were set up on the islands to bury drowned people who had washed up on the shores. The chief custom inspector in Emden, Georg Breusing, had dealt extensively with shipwrecks. He founded the Association of the Rescue of Shipwrecked Persons on the East Frisian coast in 1861. Such rescue stations had existed in England and the Netherlands since 1824. Similarly, associations were also founded in other cities such as Bremen and Hamburg. While the associations in England joined together to form the Royal National Lifeboat Institution as early as 1854, it was not until 1865 that most of the associations in Germany joined together to form the German Shipwreck Rescue Association, Deutsche Gesellschaft zur Rettung Schiffbrüchiger, or DGzRS in short. While converted fishing boats and boats from England and the Netherlands were used at the beginning, from 1870 the German standard lifeboat were produced, which were rowing boats about 10 meters long and rowed by 10 to 12 men under a foreman. The boats were in use until the Second World War. Motor lifeboats were tested and used from 1911, when reliable petrol and diesel engines became available. From the beginning of 1950s, ocean-going rescue cruisers over 20 meters long were used. These have a ready-to-use dinghy that can be quickly disengaged at the stern and deployed. These rescue cruisers are now built to be self-rightening so that they can right themselves in the event of capsizing. They are built with powerful engines for the North Sea and Baltic Sea and have fire extinguishing cannons. The largest rescue cruiser in the world, the Hermann Marwede, is also used by the DGzRS. It is over 46 meters long, over 10 meters wide, weighs over 400 tons, and the engines have 9,250 horsepower, which accelerates the ship up to 25 knots. The 16-strong regular crew is stationed in Helgoland on a fortnightly rotation in order to be directly deployed in one of the world's busiest sea areas. The Hermann Marwede is also self-rightening if necessary. To date, the company has rescued over 86,000 people in over 2,000 missions per year. To this end, 60 boats are kept on standby at 55 stations along the North Sea and Baltic coast. The rescue cruisers generally have salaried crews who are supported by volunteer crews on smaller rescue boats up to 12 meters in length. In addition to the numerous rescue missions, ambulance transport are also carried out from ships or the islands or Halligen. Each ship is equipped with a first aid station, and all helpers also have medical training. The Coordination Center for the coordinating of search and rescue missions in German territorial waters was also handed over to the society, Gesellschaft, as the DGzRS is known in northern Germany, in 1982. This society coordinates not only its own ships but also the SAR helicopters of the German Armed Forces. Bremen Rescue Radio, the Bremen Maritime Rescue Service, is also managed by the DGzRS. Here you can call for help in emergency via DSC radio, VHF or various telephone lines. This society does not have a youth department. In fact, the number of active members is actually quite small compared to the other rescue organizations. 315 permanent employees, for example, make up 180 regular crew members for the rescue cruisers. 800 volunteer sea rescuers provide support at the stations on the rescue boats. A further 600 volunteers provide support with public relation work, fundraising, specialist presentation, and trade fairs. These donations are also necessary because, apart from the fact that health insurance companies pay for the patient transport, the majority of the money for the turnover of almost 68 million euros per year comes from donations. In northern Germany, in particular, these little boats are often found in restaurants waiting for coins and bills. But of course, there are also people who donate regularly, and some even remember the DGzRS in their inheritance. Some of the ship's names honor generous donors, such as Alfred Krupp or Hermann Marwede. Other names honor the sea rescuers who died in the line of duty. For example, the Adolf Bernpohl was named after one of the founders of organized sea rescue in 1965. The entire crew lost their lives during a mission in 1967. The Otto Schülke was named in 1969 after one of the sea rescuers who died at the time. It was also the Otto Schülke that responded to the distress call of Alfred Krupp, which came to aid of a cargo ship in distress during a hurricane on January 1st, 1995. On the return journey, the Alfred Krupp was probably hit by a freak wave and capsized. It was on this night that such a wave was measured for the first time on the Draupner platform. Also, the self-rightening Alfred Krupp capsized and righted itself. 2 sailors lost their lives. The 23.1 meter long rescue cruisers Theo Fischer and Bernhard Gruber were named after the 2 rescuers in 1997. Subsequently, further improvements were made to the ship, including the roofing over open wheelhouses. Fortunately, these were the last fatal accidents involving the sea rescuers. Another special feature is the legal status of the DGzRS. It is an altrechtlicher Verein, an old legal association. It is so old that it does not have to be entered in a register of associations, as it has already existed before 1900. Such a thing is very rare. The author Nikolai von Michalewski, also known as Mark Brandis, created a monument to the society in his science fiction novels when he wrote about the UGZRR, Unabhängigen Gesellschaft zur Rettung Raumschiffbrüchiger, ISFSS, Independent Society for Saving Space-wrecked. Those who find the rescue service on land too boring can try their hands on the coast, and those who want to support the work but would rather not go into a storm or high waves can make a donation, or perhaps simply put something in the donation chip the next time they visit a pub. If you want to see more of the work and the technology, you can do so here on YouTube on the Sea Rescuers channel. I wish the brave sea rescuers a handbreadth of water under the keel at all times and a safe journey. Thank you for your attention. See you in the next video.